Should another 150 million of Canadian tax dollars go to CBC? What about tackling our housing crisis? Here's what voters need to know today. But before we get into that, let's do a quick recap of what's been happening on this federal campaign trail. All major polls are now indicating this is a two-party race, with both the Liberals and the Conservatives gaining ground, while every other party has been diminishing. The NDP is now polling at a 25-year low. Also, in case you missed it, history may have been made on April the 7th when a record-breaking 12,000 to 15,000 Canadians packed into a warehouse just outside of Edmonton, Alberta, for what's being called one of the largest political campaign rallies in Canada's history. Former Prime Minister Stephen Harper opened the rally, sharing that he has personally worked alongside both Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre, and he went on to say that he unreservedly supports Pierre Poilievre. Of course, Alberta is a conservative stronghold, so will this affect the final outcome based on seat count? That remains to be seen. But what is clear is that Mr. Poilievre's message about recapturing what he calls the Liberal lost decade is resonating with many Canadians. Meanwhile, Liberal leader Mark Carney, he held a rally in Richmond, BC, estimated at around 1,500 attendees with overflow, and then another in Calgary yesterday at a venue with the capacity of 900. Observers on site noted a significantly higher presence at the Liberal events when it comes to security. All of this is creating quite a bit of buzz. Now, let's talk about policy. On April 4th, Mark Carney pledged an additional $150 million to support the CBC. This on top of more than $1.4 billion that it already receives annually from taxpayers. In stark contrast, Pierre Poilievre has repeatedly stated he will defund the CBC. The Conservatives argue that the CBC has lost political impartiality due to the large amounts of funding that it has received from the Liberals over the past decade. So, what do you think? Should taxpayers continue to prop up the CBC with increasing funding, or should it be required, like other media outlets, to develop a sustainable business model without over $1 billion in public support? Other significant announcements in recent days include Pierre Poilievre has pledged to pre-approve large infrastructure projects to attract investors and get major developments like pipelines built. These are projects that could inject billions into Canada's economy. Meanwhile, Mark Carney announced the creation of another new federal agency, BCH, Build Canadian Homes, with $25 billion of taxpayer money earmarked for building prefab houses. The Conservatives, in contrast, have said that they would eliminate GST on new homes under $1 million, repurpose federal buildings, perhaps including those large CBC buildings in our urban centers, focus on fast-tracking building permits to empower entrepreneurs to drive housing development. So, what should it be? Should the government build homes with taxpayer dollars, or should it focus on clearing the way for strong entrepreneurs to thrive in the housing market? Well, you decide. It's a ballot question. Thanks for joining me for Merit TV from Ottawa. This is what voters need to know. I'm Faytene.